What's the most narcissistic thing your golden child sibling did that finally backfired? My brother Jake has been the golden child our entire lives. He's 3 years younger than me, but somehow he's always been the perfect one. While I was the troublemaker daughter, Jake got perfect report cards without studying. I barely passed high school. Jake was class president and star quarterback. I worked at McDonald's after school. Why can't you be more like your brother? Was basically my mom's daily greeting. When I graduated college after 6 years of part-time classes and working full-time, my parents' first reaction wasn't pride. It was worry about how Jake would feel since he was still finishing his degree. Jake was supposed to graduate from his fancy private university this spring. My parents planned a huge celebration, inviting the entire extended family. They rented a country club, ordered custom invitations, and spent months bragging to everyone about their son, the future lawyer. The week before graduation, Jake called me panicking. He'd failed 2 required classes and wouldn't actually be graduating. He begged me not to tell anyone because he had a plan to fix everything. I thought he meant retaking the classes over summer. The morning of the fake graduation, Jake showed up at the family breakfast wearing his cap and gown. He posed for pictures with our grandparents, gave a speech about his bright future, and accepted congratulations from 40 relatives who'd driven hours to celebrate him. During the ceremony photos at the university, I started feeling suspicious. Jake kept avoiding certain areas of campus and wouldn't let anyone come to the actual ceremony. He said it was too crowded and emotional, so family should wait at the restaurant. At the celebration dinner, Jake stood up to give a toast. I want to thank everyone for believing in me. Law school applications are already submitted, and I can't wait to follow my dreams. The whole family cheered while I sat there knowing he was lying to everyone. Then our cousin Amy, who actually goes to the same university, arrived late to dinner. She looked confused seeing Jake in his graduation outfit. "Jake, I thought you weren't walking today. My friend in your program said you failed contracts and constitutional law." The entire restaurant went silent. Jake's face turned white. Amy must be confused. She doesn't know my schedule. But Amy pulled out her phone and showed our mom the actual graduation program. Jake's name wasn't listed anywhere. Our grandmother, who'd been bragging about Jake for months, slowly stood up. "Jacob, did you lie to us about graduating?" The whole family was staring. Jake tried to backtrack, claiming there was some administrative error, but Amy had already confirmed with multiple classmates. Our dad, who'd paid $60,000 for this dinner and invited his entire law firm, looked like he wanted to disappear. "You mean you've been lying about this for weeks? While we planned this whole celebration?" Jake finally broke down and admitted he'd failed his classes, but was planning to make them up over summer. He thought if he faked the graduation, he could buy time to figure things out. The family sat in stunned silence while Jake sobbed about the pressure and expectations. Our Uncle Mike, who'd driven 8 hours with his kids, stood up and said, "This is the most selfish thing I've ever witnessed. You let your 85-year-old grandmother fly across the country for a lie." The worst part was watching our parents realize their golden child had humiliated them in front of everyone they'd bragged to. Mom started crying. Dad couldn't look at anyone. The relatives began quietly leaving while Jake sat there in his fake graduation gown. The next week, Jake's lies unraveled completely. Turns out he'd been failing classes for 2 semesters, living off student loans while partying instead of studying. He'd also been lying about the law school applications and his internship. Meanwhile, I'd just gotten promoted to regional manager at my company, something my parents barely acknowledged. But suddenly, they needed their responsible daughter to help clean up Jake's mess. Funny how that works. Jake had to move back home at 23 and enroll in community college to finish his degree. The golden child pedestal finally crumbled, and everyone saw who he really was underneath all that fake perfection.